Yeah, buddy. We are live. We're all hooked up. Lights on. Let's get out of here. Good morning. Good morning. We are getting to it. I'll wait till some more people jump in before I start my rant. I didn't move my tandems. Let me slide my tandems real fast. What's up, Jones? How's it going? Top of the morning. I'm gonna jump out and slide these tandems real fast. How's the drive-in market over going on over there in the West Coast? Man, the market. Hold on, let me finish sliding these tandems. All right, Betty. There we go. The market. Hey Jones, where you at? You on the East Coast, I assume, or were you what lanes do you haul? Just curious. This West Coast market, man, it all depends. It's not looking too great right now, to be honest with you. Ohio, that's what's up. Yeah, the market's not looking too great, even though for the last what 3 months I've been doing local stuff. I found a local customer, but but I'm always looking at the rates. I'm always looking at the spot markets. I'm always getting emails from brokers, and right now the going rate is like $1.80 something. To be honest with you, Amazon loads are cheap, $1.35. I mean, under $2 a mile for sure. We're talking about Amazon, but yeah, they give you like 500, $600 to go from Las Vegas to Bakersfield. They trying to give you $1.80, just under $2 to go from here to San Bernardino. 40,000 pound loads. So let's see. I'm gonna read your comment when I get to the stoplight. But the rates right now are not looking too pretty. Maybe because it's the beginning of the year. I don't know. But I know here in Vegas, the rejections, the load to truck ratio is like even. It's just as many trucks as there is loads coming out of Las Vegas. Usually around the Midwest area. Okay. All right. I'm gonna read the next one here in a minute. But I wonder how the rates are in the Midwest. Like, what's the average rate you guys are getting out there when you hustle in the Midwest? Because we got one of the biggest port, I think like the third largest port out in Long Beach. So there's a lot of goods coming out of LA. That's why some of the brokers, at least coming from Vegas, going up that way, they try to lowball you pretty much. Um, so you got to really put on your poker face when you're negotiating rates out here, trying to get out. But I don't know. Have you guys been watching the news lately? I want to talk about the tariff thing, the tariff tax, how on goods coming in from foreign countries into America. I wonder, what do you guys think the effects are going to be on that? Just because the market, I know every year around this year, the beginning of the year, all the shippers and stuff like that are, contracts are up, so people are renegotiating contracts when it comes to carriers, um, and orders and all that stuff. So I wonder if all that has a big effect. But yeah, I haven't seen the rates climb yet. Let's see. During the yeah, because that's when they really need you. The only time the prices go up during that snowstorm, that's when they really need you. I let you know the money's there, but they're playing hardball right now. So I think Amazon is tax exempt. They don't even send out 1099s or anything like that. So I don't even know if they report their spending budget or whatever to the government. I don't know. That's something I need to look deeper into. But that's what I heard. I heard they're tax exempt or something like that. Um, but yeah, it's looking ugly over here, man. I know. Usually when I did Amazon, I usually do the contracts because I know, like at the beginning of the year, that the rates are going to be horrible. So usually, like before December, I would book, 4 months. From the first to the second month of the new year, I will make sure I have 8 weeks of contracts already booked because in December and a couple months or a month before December, the rates are usually pretty good because of that peak season. So I make sure during that peak season, um, because they're paying like 5,000, 7,000 a week. Well, with those contracts, if you're doing three blocks a week. It averaged out to be like 5 to 7 thousand. So I make sure I at least get 4 of those weeks in. And then when I look into like the beginning of the year, the first and second month, the rates are still pretty decent. If you book them like 2 months in advance with the contract, so I'll get the rate at they're giving 15, 16, over 13 for sure. The rate per block, so it's like 3 blocks in a contract thing. It's been a minute, so but anyways, so I always make sure I pre-book my blocks ahead with the contract. So when the rates are crappy, like they're only giving 1,100 per block or 1,000 or 12, I already have my feet set in stone with the block that's like 15, 16, 13. So it really didn't affect me. That's the only reason I like the Amazon contracts when my score was up. It's during peak season, getting those peak season contracts, and then if you plan it right, when you know the slow seasons, try to book those slow seasons ahead of time because yeah, you're taking a gamble, but it's most likely during the slow season they're not going to be paying peak peak dollars unless there's a snowstorm. But we don't get many snowstorms where I'm at. But yeah, but Amazon right now is horrible. I don't know how the that's just for the dry freight for like the van. I don't know how the container, the railroad stuff's moving with Amazon because usually that pays pretty good. Um, I'm gonna have to ask my buddy. He's an expert in that field. I'm gonna ask him how it's looking with that. But the rates took a dip after the holidays, man. Took a huge dip. That's why I always preach consistency. Make sure when you're on that DOT or that spot market, and you find good brokers that actually did good work, and you're happy with the negotiation progress, or the negotiation part. You're happy with the load, the lane. It wasn't no BS. They didn't leave you out there high and dry. I have a little booklet. I write down the name, email address, and I let them know, hey, if this is my lane, especially if it's running your lane. Like, this is my lane. I always run this lane. When you get loads like this, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me. Here's my email address. And some of the good ones, usually it's the younger brokers. Every time I talk to a broker my age or younger, they're usually not as greedy. When I get an older broker, like you can tell by his voice, he's an older person. They're usually more like they're usually more cutthroat. Like is no, they don't leave no play, no cushion, no room, no understanding. Not all of them, but most of them. Like I already know I'm gonna have a hard time negotiating with them. But usually the younger guys, they have like an email setup thing. So they just add your email to their little automatic system. So when they get loads, they usually shoot them out on their email process first. Like, hey, boop, these are the loads we have for that lane. If you're interested, shoot me a rate or what you trying to do it for. I have like 5 or 6 brokers who are like that. That's actually how I found this what I'm doing now through something like that. This popped up. The broker hit me up like, "Hey, is this something you're interested in?" I gave it a shot. The first week or two, I was hesitant about it, but I just made sure as a carrier, I kept the customer happy as possible. And when it came down to cuts, because there was several other carriers, and there still is several other carriers, but there was more carriers than they had volume, so they had to cut down on some of those carriers to keep the carriers that they want, the customer wanted to work with. Um, and I made the cut. It was like only like 4 carriers right now, just because what I'm doing is new for the customer in Vegas, but they've been around for a long time. They have other lanes. that does the same thing, different commodity in different states. So, but anyways, long story short, it's kind of like a direct, carrier to consumer contract in a way, but you can say I have an agent in the middle, which is the person who set it up for me and the way they run their platform. So right now I'm just lucky with the consistency. When I first started doing it, the spot market rates, you can get a load for $3 a mile, you can get a load for 280. Like the rates were a little bit better than it is right now. And my average load, especially if I go Las Vegas to Bullhead, Las Vegas to St. George, is like 3.3 a mile. Plus coming back, I bring something back for like 2.8. So when you average the mileage of going up there and coming back, it averaged out to like 2.5 to around there somewhere. But that's the only long haul I do is like 98 miles out and back. So whatever that round trip is. Um, but usually I just do local stuff, and the local runs are way over. When you add it up by the mile, it's over like $14 a mile or something crazy like that. But just the consistency, it's where it's at that I'm happy with. Um, but yeah, if you're running that spot market, if you taking those rejection loads, you know everything's about consistency. You got to be consistent on building relationships and knowing your worth. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Some brokers don't have the volume, but you might find that one that does. So anything helps. But I really want to know what you guys think about the tariffs. If you guys have any comments on that, I just want to know everybody else's thoughts on how that affects the trucking industry. Will that be a good thing, a bad thing? Will it slow down product movement? Or what's the future for the trucking industry when it applies to the tariff thing? You guys think it's a good thing, bad thing, thumbs up? I don't know. Let me know. I'm really curious about that. And if you run an Amazon relay, and if you're not on the West Coast, or if you're on the West Coast, what's the rates that you guys are seeing on the platform? And if you guys are running containers with Amazon, what is that looking like right now? I see Pop Tarts in here. I'm gonna read her comment here in a minute once I stop. I'm just glancing. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna read those here in a sec. But Pop Tart, you dropped some gems. By me, the gem you dropped for me got me researching what you told me to research, and then it led to other stuff like this. So, and my goal was more home time and all that stuff, and it was a blessing. I prayed on it, I begged for it, and when the opportunity came, I tried my best to execute on it. Even though when I first did this, I was skeptical. The first 2 weeks I was about to just say, okay, this is not, the how can I say it? If the formula worked properly, yes, this can be a great thing. But the way it was running when I first started doing this, if it was consistently like that, there's no way I could be doing it. But I stuck with it. They figured it out, and the consistency is right where I need it to be. Of course, things can get better, but when I first started, it was like, how can it get any worse than this? It's like, there's no way it can get worse than this, So I just got to stick with it. Ooh, bumpy, and that's what I did. So, but until I read everybody's comments, I might as well run along a little bit more. I've been watching the Yeah, I YouTube a lot of stuff, especially on the news. What Elon Musk is doing with the audits and all that stuff. What do you guys feel about that? It's kind of I'm listening to both sides, and it's kind of wild how everybody's in Capitol Hill is going bunkers. Like I don't know, like the arguments of like the audits on some audits, like oh, it's people's social securities and it's a national risk and all this stuff. Like I don't know how I feel about all that. Like I think those are just talking points or scare tactics to get people afraid of I don't know what, but I don't see what's wrong with seeing where the taxpayers' money's going to see where we can be more efficient. Because America's ran like a business anyway, so why not really run it like a business? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that's a bad thing that the government's basically getting audited right now? Are you guys alarmed? Do you guys believe what the other side's saying, how this can hurt and this is a national security and all this stuff, having Elon go in there and look at the records? Right now I'm just watching, like I don't see how it could be a bad thing to know where the money's going and stuff like that and where we can slim down on overspending, over government spending. Because I found something new when every time I heard inflation or the national debt and all this stuff, I thought inflation had to do with you know the cycle of money, like they printed too much money and put it out there, and that's how inflation goes up. That's how prices go up. But I didn't know it was because of like government spending. Like government money is backed up basically on our tax dollars. So the more money they spend, the more taxes basically we would have to pay to balance the government spending. But that's what makes inflation goes up. So the government spends, $2 trillion, and our taxpayer dollars we only put in, a trillion. The remainder basically goes to the debt that we hold. I'm just dryly. This is just an example. Um, but I guess the remainder trillion goes into the debt that we will owe whoever, whatever the debt is. I don't know, but I didn't know inflation was like 100% government controlled. Like I thought it had more at play than that. I didn't know that the government is what actually causes inflation by the government spending. So that's something I learned by following this story on the audits and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a good thing. What are you guys' thoughts on there? All right, what are you guys' understanding on how that works and how stuff like that will impact the trucking industry? Did I let's see, think up? No, nope, one more up. So I'm very curious. Let's see.